Tell me about your tattoo. This is something new that I've seen since the last time I've seen you.
So obviously it's been a while. We actually didn't get a session. Didn't get an episode in last week because Zoe just got back from Singapore. But obviously got this new tattoo, which is about 10 days old now, I'd say.
Damn, they did good work with the lines.
So it's kind of like, it's definitely like started. Like it's only like a little bit left in terms of like the peeling. But
I like how they have like the shading, like the light parts and the dark parts, because it really looks like brush strokes. They could have totally just colored this part in.
Right.
But it looks more realistic as a brush stroke without having that fully colored. It's almost like a gradient. Do you see like here? It's like a little bit like ever so slightly lighter.
Yeah.
That emulates like the actual brush strokes really similarly because.
Right. Okay, I see.
Like it's like, I can't describe it, but the thickness varies along the brush, so then it's like certain areas will be fully covered, and I think they did that really well.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty satisfied with it. I think like honestly, like my appreciation for art isn't like because I'm not an artist and like I've never like I like it and I'm pretty satisfied with it, but like in terms of my ability to appreciate it, I don't think, because I'm not an artist, like I don't really know how to fully appreciate it.
That's fair. I mean? But do you like it? Right.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of your tattoos hold more of a sentimental meaning versus like, oh, I like it because the art is beautiful and it speaks to me. So which is like, maybe that's like the angle you go with tattoos, which is also completely valid. Yeah,
for sure. So yeah, bro, just keen to rock it with you, bro. You're gonna bring yours out, man.
But so we
straight for the thumbnail, bro. Yeah, man. On our right as well, I think.
Oh my god, nice.
I think we have to double confirm that, bro.
Okay, very nice. But we have matching, not really matching, but we both have forearm tattoos.
Yeah, bro.
So yeah.
Zoe's sister just walking by.
She's like peering.
What are you guys doing, bro? Man.
How do you feel like? Do you feel like it was what you wanted it to be? Because I feel like you had a very
particular
big intention on getting that.
I think like. Nah, honestly, he executed it pretty well. Honestly, bro, I have this thing called aphantasia. Like, I haven't been diagnosed with this, but like, genuinely, like, there's this diagram, and like, basically, one of the girls at my Bible studies was like, pulled it up one time and was like, oh, like, it's like an apple, and it's like from 1 to 5, and basically, I think number 5 is like the most detailed.
Like how well you can visualize
an apple
without it being in front of you.
Exactly. And like, I was like, I only figured this out like 2 months ago or so. And I was like, dude, like I literally cannot see anything in my mind. Like,
I was so confused because I was like, does that mean like when you remember places and direction, like you actually have to recall like what street you're going to go on?
So you know how you roast me like, bro, you can never find like the way back to the car. Legit. Because what I have to do, because I have this thing called aphantasia, it's like, I have to, every time I park my car, I take a photo of where my car is. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as I exit like the car park into the shopping center,
you can't visualize how that
I can't see anything in my mind. So I basically have to like just take a photo of the first shop
that's crazy.
Which I see.
Can't you make like a mental note?
It should be alright, yeah. Just go for it. Yeah, but just try to keep it down if you can. Like these are dynamic mics, so it should be fine, but like just if you can, yeah. All good. But yeah, it's just like,
that's crazy because it was like, the way I thought about it was like, you know, in Google Maps, they have like the visual map, but they have like the direction, like turn left on like Arthur Street.
Yeah,
and like, it's like your brain work that way when you're recalling directions because.
Well, I never go without the GPS, bro.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. It's like, you know how like sometimes Google Maps gives you direction, but like by word, they're like, exit on Crown Street.
Yeah.
And make a left. So it's like, but some people like visualize, I don't actually know what street I'm on. I'm just like turning left, right, center.
Right.
I'm like where I'm meant to go.
Dude, I honestly can't see anything in my mind, bro.
He is not an artist.
When I go to a new place, I just whip it, I put it into Waze, get it on the GPS, and I just follow it exactly. But like, generally, there's no kind of visualization, which is weird because like I still consider myself creative, but like
in different ways.
Different ways, exactly.
Not in a drawing way, because
not in a drawing way. Even though I actually did go to art school when I was a kid.
I remember. I think I crashed. I remember drawing an apple. Was it?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to draw like all different fruits.
Yeah. I remember with like color pencils and stuff. I think I crashed one of yours when I was a kid.
Okay.
Ages ago.
But yeah, one time John was like asking me like, do you like, what would your ideal kind of living room look like? And he was asking me about the colors.
I remember this.
All this, yeah. And then I was like, dude, I genuinely can't see. I can't see anything in my mind.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cooked, man.
But yeah, but I guess it makes sense. A lot of your tattoos currently are all text-based as well. So it's like, maybe that's just how you convey, I don't know, you express yourself, I guess.
Yeah. But, anyways, I guess we'll kind of get into this week's topic. I guess, like, bro, genuinely, just the other day, I was thinking about this, and I was like, man, like, when I use, like, GPS to go places, dude, my dad, he doesn't use GPS at all whatsoever.
Does he memorize all the roads?
Well, like, that's the thing, right? Because one time I was like to my mom, like, did you, like, drive before GPS?
I've asked that to my parents too. I've asked that to my parents too.
Yeah.
But they said, like, sorry for taking your answer.
No,
it's just like, they used to drive, like, the roads used to be way simpler. There used to be one way to the store, one way to the school, one way to your doctor. So, like, there was no, like, alternate route to anything. So if you wanted to go from the doctor's to the shopping mall, you would reroute back to your home and then go to the mall.
Oh,
because the road structures were way more
really?
simple back then.
Okay,
now it's just like there's a billion ways you can get to the same place.
Right. That's fair.
So that makes sense.
Bro, literally just yesterday, I got into, like, a kind of like a bit of a fight with my dad just because, like, we're talking about, like, I always use Waze. Like, I do you go any places without GPS or not really?
I feel like most places, unless it's like they have poor GPS signal, most places would support GPS or like Google Maps at the very least.
Right, okay. But, like, I basically don't go anywhere without GPS.
Yeah.
So it just feels weird when someone's like, or my dad's like, I actually just know the way. And, like, we were coming back from Ramsgate Beach, which is like 30 minutes from Lincoln or so, 2 days ago. And basically it was like, oh no, like, I know the way. And I was like, no, bro. Like, I put in the ways into GPS. And I was like, actually, it's rerouting and taking us to another way because, like, I assumed there was traffic on, like, King George's Road or whatever road we need to get back. Yeah. And, like, my dad was like, nah, bro, like, it's wrong. Yeah. And I was just like, bro, what are you talking about? And so I'm kind of, it's just a bit like, I don't know how he's a bit,
I think it's because people, like our parents, they're fixed on a certain way they like to do things, and that's how they've always done things. So they're a bit like, less flexible to change. Right. So because that's how they've always gotten to school, it's like they almost like don't trust this device telling them like, this is the wrong way, you should try another way. And because they've validated the way they've been going on this route for so many years. Right. It's kind of similar to how, like, for example, like your grandma might have this like chicken soup recipe that she's been using for like years. Okay. But then you tell her like, oh no, like there's this new TikTok trend that uses this X ingredient that she's never seen before. She's like, no, that's not how you make chicken soup. It's just not how she's used to the way to do things. Right. And I think it's just like how fixed you are in your existing
your ways.
Yeah.
But do you think it's up to them to still change, or is it something that it's just like, I don't know. I feel like my dad's so old that it's like, we kind of talked about this on a previous episode, but it's like old habits die hard, right? And it's like, I think it's in his mind, he's fixated that he's like, he knows better than the GPS. Yeah. But I'm kind of like not of the same opinion. So
I think it's not that he thinks he knows better than the GPS. I think he just doesn't trust the GPS. It's like similar to how like pre-online shopping, right? Everyone was like so scared of getting scammed to put like their credit card details onto a web browser. Right. Because like someone was going to like steal off your numbers and start using it elsewhere. So I understand. It's like with any sort of introduction of any new technology. AI, for example, like that's like a pretty, like the most recent phenomenon, I guess. It's like they're like the late adopters and the early adopters. And obviously the later generation, or more like even like industries like construction or like healthcare are like industries that are just a bit less flexible to change. They take like a bit longer to adapt to new technologies, like new ways of doing things. Right. I think like one of the reasons is like the people who are in these industries are very hands-on, and they've always trusted themselves being the person to execute your surgeries, like your building of houses. Whereas if they offload that off to like some new invention, they're like, oh my god, like how can I? Also, healthcare and construction, like it's quite a high risk industry. Like if anything goes wrong, like someone's life might be at stake. Right. Construction, if your building doesn't go like built to plan, like it falls and like that's expensive and you could hurt someone.
Right.
So they're just like, I think it depends. Maybe for example, like driving, your dad's just like, this is safe. This is what I know.
Right.
Anything out of there, like I deem as like unsafe. So it's not that he doesn't adopt it. He just might not trust it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But like online shopping, even though that's so normalized now with our generation, I think I can kind of understand that when online shopping first became a thing, especially for people of that generation. But I don't know, with GPS, I feel like that is just so standardized. It kind of blows my mind that people would like just don't trust it.
I think it's because it's so integrated in your day to day. But I can imagine that there'd be countries like even rural parts of New South Wales or like any rural parts of anywhere. Like I'm pretty sure the people there might not rely on any sort of like global navigation system.
Right,
They just know the roads and everything by heart.
Okay. But
it's like with cell phones. It's like people have lived an era without cell phones because they're so integrated. Like everything we do, from banking to like shopping to calling people to ordering food, like everything's on our phones. Yeah. Back in the day, like everyone did all these tasks like separately. Didn't really matter. Right. So.
Okay. I mean,
it's different. It's like it was like it was only introduced like maybe by the time we're like in our 60s, like some new crazy technology was introduced, and we're like no. Yeah, and it's like something like the
we want to reject it.
The new age.
Do you reckon?
I think so.
Really, bro?
I also feel like we've lived through like more like,
technological innovations.
Yeah, and like evolution. So we might be like, just because of what we've experienced as when we were younger, we might be more open to them. But because for them in the span of their lifetime, this much change did not happen this fast.
Right.
So yeah.
Do you think we're gonna like, let's say fast forward like 50, 60 years from now, do you think there's gonna be some kind of technological change or innovation that is so crazy or so kind of out of this earth that we're like, no, I don't want anything to do that, and we're kind of gonna naturally want to reject it? Or like, where do you think that comes from?
I don't know. I feel like even with, for example, like at the most recent ones are like social media and like AI, right? Where it's like, I remember when Instagram first brought on stories like a couple years ago, I was like, nobody's gonna use stories on Instagram. Like Snapchat is where it's at. Like that's like the OG
That's true.
That's
true. That's fair.
And I was like, I refuse to post any stories. And then like, I only post Instagram stories now. I don't post any posts. I literally just use the story function.
Do you still use Snapchat? I don't even use Snapchat.
I don't use Snapchat anymore. Like once my streaks bro, I was like, fuck this. Like,
for sure.
But I think that's like an example of that. But even with AI, right? I feel like everyone's very like, whoa, what the heck is this? Like until like people properly understood it and see it actually apply and do like really disruptive things for the industry. Right. Because like, I feel like most people use like ChatGPT at least like once a day.
100%. I use it every day, bro.
Exactly. It's like Google now. Yeah. Like, so like no one releases Google anything. It's like, I put it into ChatGPT. Yeah. Yeah. It's like how radios went from like being in the car and this box device listening to like frequencies over the waves to like a streaming platform that uses the internet. Right. So it's like, I think there might be, considering like how crazy the world is changing, but I don't know how it's going to look like. Honestly, the human race might not survive the next 500 years for all I know. I don't know. I just feel like things are like things are just crazy, but I don't know. 500 years is a lot. Well, it's a short time in the grand scheme of how long the earth has been standing. But
Okay. Right. All right. Well, let's kind of loop it back to kind of the topic for this week. I guess with that, I kind of want to use that analogy of my dad, kind of not believing in the GPS, or like not wanting to use Waze or the GPS as an analogy for kind of what we're going to talk about for this week. And so, yeah, I guess one thing that's kind of been on my mind for a while is just kind of like, obviously, like you understand with Asian parents and Chinese parents specifically, it's like, you know, the 9-to-5 life is the most stable life. And so I think that's something where I feel like, I don't know, man, like this is something that I've been trying to fight back against for my entire life. And it's like, I think it's something where my parents don't really fully understand that, like, I do view it as like a rat race. And it's like, I don't actually want to, dude, I don't want to, I feel like I wasn't put on this earth to live some kind of shitty soul-sucking 9-to-5 existence. And it's like, entrepreneurship as a whole is something that if your family is very traditional and they're not about that, it's something that's really, really hard to break. And so, like, yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts in terms of,
I suppose it's, well, okay, I guess like defining like what 9-to-5 means to you and what entrepreneurship means to you and like what that means to your parents, right?
Right.
like what would a 9 to 5 look to you, and why do you feel like it doesn't fit you, and why do you think your parents are so adamant about like pushing it onto you? I guess like speaking from your experience, like why like the statement that you just mentioned, like what brought you to where like feeling this way?
Well, I think it's just because like pretty much all of our cousins on our dad's side like work in some kind of 9 to 5 job, and like I feel like with the exception of your older sister, that like it's just so normalized. And I think when you grew up feeling like there's no other pathway, it's like almost like there's a level of like revolt, and it's like I don't want anything to do with that. And so like obviously it's been difficult because I've been trying to find my career and figuring out what I want to do for the last couple of years. And since kind of dropping out of university, I was trying to figure that out outside of university, and I was still working my job until I resigned 2 months ago. But it's like, that mold is just so hard. And it's like, especially when your whole family, it's like, I don't know, man.
When did you realize that 9 to 5 was not for you?
I think I've always had that within me. What
did it stem from? Like what traits do you think, or like what makes you think you were meant for something aside from that? Like what are your natural inclinations? Like, because I think it's a kind of work style, right? Where I do work a 9 to 5. I'm in tech. I'm a software engineer. So I personally, I think it depends on personality, right? Some people have that risk appetite. I feel like I'm quite risk adverse, so I get scared taking risks. Like it really like scares me, but that's just, it's like investing, right? Some people have a bigger risk, are more risk averse.
Risk averse.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like it's a personality thing, and just depending on like how you like to work, the sort of things you want to do. Because I think there are certain things you are boxed into if you work into 9 to 5. But there are some valuable skills that you do learn. But it's very dependent on like what your goals are. So I'm just like, I guess what I'm trying to get you to answer is like, oh, like what are your goals? And maybe like 9 to 5 doesn't align with like the goals that you have for yourself.
I think the main thing for me is that I think that I want to feel like I'm actually making some kind of meaningful contribution to the world. And so like I've just always thought that, you know, in theory I could have gutted out my HR degree and got some job as a headhunter at some kind of global company. But it's like, you know, I think deep down inside I always knew that that was not the path that I wanted to pursue. And so I was just desperately trying to find some other means, some other way in order to forge my own path. And so it's like, let's do a thought experiment. If I were to hypothetically have finished my degree and then went and got some job in HR in some company and worked that until I was like 30 years old or so, I think deep down I would have like, if I continued to work that job until I was 30 or so, I think deep down inside I would have known that this is actually not what I want. And then once I reach that decision and I know in my mind like this is actually not what I want, and I'm only doing it because my parents want it, then I feel like, one, I'm going to hate myself for not living true to my values and what I want out of life. And two, I'm going to start to resent my parents as well. And like, I'm not even going to come to that conclusion until multiple years down the line, many years down the line. And so I think it just stems from this innate want to do something bigger and be part of something bigger and part of something that's mine. And so I don't know. I feel like I've always resonated with like people who are entrepreneurs, and people laugh at me, but it's like I get a lot of inspiration from someone like Steve Jobs, and it's like I want to have that kind of impact on the world. And so like obviously I don't work in tech, but it's like, I don't know. I've just always felt like I just want to find my niche, my market, and just be able to dominate in that realm and find ways to innovate and yeah.
Has that always been something you want to do since? Because I think the reason for me was like I was a kid in uni who couldn't decide like what degree I wanted to study and what sort of like career I wanted to do. And I was just like, oh my god, everything is like so overwhelming. I knew I really liked sciences growing up, so like I think why 9 to 5 works or naturally came to me was because it just naturally aligned with things I want to do. So it makes sense that if you knew from an earlier age that the 9 to 5 was something you didn't want to do, so it makes a lot of sense why you're like rejecting it so much. But I guess for me, it's because like I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I know it was like I wanted to do something. I went through my phases that were just very Asian job orientated. Like I think the biggest thing was I wanted to be a doctor. Like
really,
I had a phase because my favorite subject in school was biology, so I was fully like thinking of prepping for that. But the reason why I decided not to go ahead with it was because I shadowed a couple doctors and I spoke to friends who were like dead set on med, and I feel like I wasn't quite as passionate as they were.
Right.
I feel like if you wanted to like lock in for like 8 years of your life, financially, time, like effort, placements, like
you really have to want to be
really
there.
want it. I felt like I didn't mind it, but I was definitely like, oh my god, this is what I want to do, and that is what gets you through med school. So I was like, okay, I don't think I'm suitable for med school. So I just like look. How I got to software engineering is like I was just looking at what degrees were available, and at that point I think like big data and like Web3 and all that was just getting kind of popular. Software engineering hadn't hit its peak quite yet, but it's definitely it's up and coming. And I was just like, oh, and I actually spoke to one of my family friends who was in IT, and she's a girl, so classic male dominated field where it's like, but like my family friend actually said she really enjoyed it, and it's like she loves problem solving, and she originally wanted to be a teacher, but she was like, she got an opportunity to work at an IT firm, and that worked out really well for her because she loved the problem solving aspect of the job. I guess it's just because the nature of the tasks that I want to do in a career just gear towards more like 9 to 5 roles. Not to say that you can't be a software engineer and an entrepreneur. There are heaps of people in tech who are actually entrepreneurs. Actually, it's one of the biggest spaces in terms of like startups and everything. But I think I just wanted something that had a bit more structure. I operate great under structure. And that's just my personality. So I would say like the entrepreneurship 9 to 5 thing might be actually quite personality based to a certain extent. Because I don't do well if like things aren't structured, like my goals aren't like clear on what I do. But some people like thrive in that. It's because it's not clear. They're able to like be more disruptive and like think outside of the box and everything. But I like to do things by the book, unfortunately. So it's just like that just made sense for me.
I have a question. Do you think like, because obviously both your older sisters are from Malaysia, all born and raised in Malaysia, and then, you know, they all came to Australia to get an education. And so do you feel like if you were born in Australia, or possibly like if you were born in America, do you think you'd have a different mindset in terms of, because I feel like that path was kind of laid out that like, you know, both your older sisters came to Australia, they went to university in Sydney, you were naturally going to follow.
Actually, that's a good point. There was one thing that I like career choice wise, I feel like I was quite aligned with what was expected of like an Asian or whatever. But I guess like one thing that I want to like, that's actually a really good point, because I originally wanted to go to school in the States. But me being the youngest and just like having my sisters pave the way for setting life up in Australia for me, and obviously a lot of my extended family is based here, it just made the most sense. But I was like, oh my god, no, like I wanted to go to the States. First of all, because the States, you apply to enter like a school, so that could be like engineering, the School of Science, the School of Business within your university, but you don't have to declare a major until later. You can even declare it in like your last semester, even as long as like you fulfill.
What? Really?
You can, but you need to make sure you fulfill their credits and requirements. If you declare your major but your credits and don't count towards your major, you just have to take extra classes to make up for it. But I like that because I was like, I didn't want to be like boxed into a degree immediately. And that was actually one thing I fought with my parents a lot about. I think like at a young age, like I didn't quite understand, but now that I'm older, like I do. And Australia makes sense now, but and I think I got my fix of experiencing American college by going on exchange. I mean, it just happened to work out, but there's also a chance where like that whole life experience would have not gone in a way that I would have enjoyed. But it just worked out. But I totally hear you. I almost think that having the opportunity to pursue entrepreneurship is like almost a privilege, I would say, in the sense where it's like I think a big reason why like people just pursue 9 to 5 because they're like, oh, like I just need to get a job. I need to like make some money. Got bills to pay. I need to make like a stable income first. And then that's why people who do work 9 to 5, they don't like, not everybody works their 9 to 5 for their entire lives.
Yeah.
They might pursue like their own adventure, like ventures like further down the line after if they've accrued enough financial income
Capital.
to like pursue those kinds of things. And it's not like I feel like in this day and age, like careers are so malleable too. It's like people literally like will drop everything and they do something that's completely different from what they originally studied, and it's like okay. But yeah, I'd say like why 9 to 5s maybe are so like what people naturally incline to, or like some people don't even think twice about, just because big companies, I think working with big companies is also like a big desire. Like having that name under your belt and in your resume actually sets you up for a lot of opportunities later on in the future, because it's almost like a credibility sign. Like you worked for X large firm, they know that you're capable of at least doing like the bare minimum of the standards held by that company. So it's like you're almost like vetted by that company. So that's like a big thing. And it's just it's like give or take. Like some people drop out of school like Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, like all these kinds of things. And the fact that
those extreme examples, but like he did drop out of like Harvard, so I feel like that needs to be taken on the grain of salt. So even to get into Harvard, exactly.
He's not like a random dropout from anywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so it depends on personality largely. Some people just favor stability, or like they just don't have that desire to disrupt the
status
existing
quo
much, and it's like they're just happy to do what they want, and that sometimes is given in a 9 to 5. So it depends on what your goals are and what your natural personality likes.
Okay, I have a question about that, just a follow-up question. So this is, from my understanding, your parents picked both your older sisters' majors.
Kind of. Honestly, this was probably better answered by my sisters, but like maybe. But I feel like accounting and finance is like the most common major amongst Asians, for sure, especially girls as well.
So was there like, obviously there's a big age gap between you and your middle sister. Was that something where how was the process of you picking software engineering? Because
funny enough, it's like my parents actually made a suggestion too, and like what I should do.
They gave you multiple choices. It was a multiple choice.
Where it's like,
I
knew I didn't want to do accounting and finance because both of my sisters did, and they didn't like love, like didn't hate it, but they didn't like love it. So
for sure,
I was like, it's very like it didn't like really appeal to me that much. I was big on sciences in school, so I wanted to do something down that route. I actually thought of postdoc, like after I decided not to do medicine, I had a phase where I was like, oh, should I do like physiotherapy or like chiro, because I did a lot of sports in school, and just seeing like the injuries and all that, that's something like I could see myself doing just based off like my high school experience. But then my parents were like, oh my god, this is kind of mean, but like my mom was like, oh, like chiros and physiotherapists are just like professional masseuses. And I was like, that's not like, that's like
that
so
is not true, but alright.
No, like they're so important for the recovery of like so many injuries, especially now when everyone's like,
that's such a Chinese. we can unpack that even more. Like
I think it was one of their arguments, right? They're like, oh, we're gonna send you overseas to pursue higher education. Like, it should be something that's like perceived as like more prestigious or whatever. But I just knew that I didn't want to do accounting and finance. But engineering, I guess, was the next thing. My dad did mechanical engineering, and he was actually like, oh, like it's okay if you want to do it, but consider if like the actual realities of the job. It's not just like studying, because he knows that I like to do well in school. He's like, I think you'd get through it no problem, but it's just like the actual nature of the job. You're gonna be out on site. You're gonna be like overseeing like actual engineering works. Like, is that something you actually want to do?
Bro, do you reckon we should turn the lights on?
Oh, you can just switch that on over there. But like, it's just he was just like, oh, like, is this something you actually want to do? And if like it's kind of like where liking a subject and the actual career path is different. Oh, there's another one I was considering, like biomedical science or like biomed research. It was also because I liked biology and chemistry, and that just seemed like the natural transition of like a career based off of the subjects you like in high school. But it's actually so true though, in the sense where the career you pick and the subjects you like in school are like two completely different things. Just because you like learning about one thing doesn't necessarily mean like your day-to-day tasks doing research about this topic forever is what you necessarily want to do. Because and I think it was just, honestly, choosing a major in uni is hard, and like there's all these factors you think of, like like how much money you want to make out of school,
yeah,
how much like what your natural interests lie, like everything.
Yeah.
I think one interesting observation, like we used to talk about when I was doing my exchange, was like everybody comes into college like with all these diverse passions, because in America, like when you apply for college, you gotta write personal statement, right? And like everyone always tries to be like different, and they really like let their authentic selves show and like what they're passionate about. But they always like make a joke how like after 4 years of college, everyone comes out slightly homogenous because they just gravitate toward tech, investment banking, or like consulting. Which is kind of makes sense because these are perceived as like the prestigious, high-paying jobs, and like because people in America often graduate with student debt, a lot of times like their primary goal post graduation is to pay off that debt.
Right.
So it really varies. I can't really say. And I feel like I've gone on a bit of a tangent to your original question, it's but it's just, I think where you grew up and like the environment of where you're going to start work, how your university, like, and like even your peers, like what the decisions that they make can sometimes influence you in terms of like what you want for yourself as well.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah.
I think like honestly, when you mentioned before, like pursuing entrepreneurship is a little bit of a privilege, I think I resonated with that. And I think that the only reason that I've been able to kind of quit my job just on a whim without an actual plan and start this podcasting thing is because I have the financial support of my parents. And I think like, you know, my sister is working a law job, and it's like, she's working in Canberra, and it's like, I think I'm just lucky that I do have that privilege, but it is something that I shouldn't be taking for granted as well. Do you feel like, because this is just my opinion, but obviously, you know, it was kind of inclined that you were going to come to Australia and pursue higher education because both your sisters did the same thing. I feel like for you, because you live out of home, your parents aren't really supporting you financially, and you're definitely more of an adult than me in terms of like cooking for yourself,
just
adulting.
unfortunately,
exactly, just adulting in general.
It's stressful,
like,
yes.
Do you feel like, I don't know, was there any kind of thought process of, oh, I actually want to be an entrepreneur in some sense? Or like, do you feel like, are you fulfilled by your job that you do in terms of coding and software engineering? Or
ooh, good question. Yes, I think I was just lucky in the sense where, honestly, because if you asked me at the age of 17, 18 before I started university, like, could I see myself as a software engineer? I would bet my answer would be like straight up like no, like what are you on about? I feel like even when I introduce myself to people, they get surprised to learn that I am a software engineer.
Right. Okay.
But it's like, I think it's pretty sorry.
Can you check the lighting? Does that look all right? I'm low-key worried, but it's fine. Keep going.
I don't know.
It's legit.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your feet, the toes is not seen, so it's not really right.
Oh, that's fine. I don't need people to see my
toes. Calm.
Well, I don't know. Maybe
Okay.
the audience like.
All right.
I don't know if that's the audience.
Don't make it weird, bro.
I don't know if that's the audience.
All right.
To attract.
Okay.
I think I was very lucky in the sense that I actually ended up really liking the first job that I got out of uni, because a lot of people. I can't say the same experience applies to everyone who graduates. And I think that's normal in the sense where it's like the first thing you pick might not be the final thing you do. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. That's why like a lot of people now, it's like, don't put too much thought into what you pick for college, because chances are what you end up pursuing later down the line and your career might change like 3 times over. It's not like how it was in our parents' era where like you would typically work at the same job at the same company for the majority of your career
or your life. Yeah,
but I guess to answer the second part of your question, like I actually do find myself quite fulfilled. I am very lucky that I got into the tech space. I think that's a thing about how I think like the subjects you study versus like the actual job and the culture and the environment is like so different, because the reason why I was like so scared of like pursuing software engineering in first year was like, oh my god, like I literally did not touch code like until first year of uni. I had no idea like what a web page was made out of, like how the internet works.
Isn't that normal? Like I don't know many people. There are, I guess, tutoring places that do coding now these days, from what I hear.
Yeah,
like, I don't feel like that's the norm, right?
It's not the norm, but you definitely get like your software engineers that have like pursued their side. I think I started college in 2018, 2019. So that's like 6 years ago now. So
Yeah.
back then, like learning how to code by yourself was not that big of a thing, but
Right.
there were definitely like people who entered who have been building their own games like since high
Yeah.
school, or like in school, like they like hacked
Okay.
their school system just so
Right.
that they could fun and like put like a funny picture on the projector and everything.
Yeah.
And that was like how they got into it. But I was just purely just went because like, oh, this seemed like a viable career path. It was a gamble. 100% think it's a gamble, and there was a good 50% chance where I would have absolutely hated
Yeah.
what I chose to do. But I was just in the lucky 50% where like,
Right.
oh, I actually really enjoyed this thing.
Uh-huh.
Where it was like problem solving, but it's just like more mathematical, and
Right.
being able to see these applications get built and come to life was like very rewarding for me. And
Right.
I think I'm lucky that such a technical job, typically like in software engineering, but tech spaces are typically quite dynamic, and I would say less traditionally corporate than more corporate companies like consulting, banking,
Right.
finance, that sort of era. Like
Okay.
I literally could wear, this is what I would wear to work, like
Yeah.
jeans, like a sweater, and like
Yeah. Yeah.
like sneakers.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to wear a suit. Like none of us need to wear a suit. It was funny because like the theme for our end of financial year party was to wear corporate wear, and it was so jarring seeing my colleagues like all suited up and dressed up in like
Yeah.
regular corporate clothes.
Yeah.
But I think I was just lucky, honestly. But I do really enjoy being in tech. I feel like it's a dynamic spot where the skills required are technical, but it allows you to like engineer solutions in almost like a creative way, because it's kind of like math where as long as you get the output from the input, you get the correct output.
Okay.
Whatever you do in between doesn't really matter as
Right.
long as like you achieve what you want to do. And there's multiple different ways you can achieve the same achieve the same result, but it's just what meets the needs of like your business or like your project or your resources or even like deadlines.
Right.
Kind of
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
So I think I honestly was just quite lucky, because I definitely have had friends where like they turned out really passionate about a subject, but by the time they've graduated or had their first job, like they're like, oh, like it's not what I envisioned it to be. And
Right.
so then they decided like, oh, maybe this is not the space for me, and then they have to make a change.
Right. Okay. I feel like a lot of the things that you're talking about is still predicated on the fact that you do well academically in school.
I guess so.
And like, I think
Unfortunately.
you're very type A, and you're definitely very book smart with that. And I think like that doesn't necessarily apply to everyone, specifically me.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these situations are hypotheticals, and they're kind of predicated on the fact that you picked subjects in school that you had a natural predisposition for and natural aptitudes for, and you're able to be in an environment, a healthy environment where you're actually able to excel, and then from there able to kind of carve that pathway for yourself in terms of university, right? But obviously not everyone is lucky enough to be in an environment where, you know, it is healthy and they have good friends around them, they have good support network around them, and so forth.
100%.
And so like, I think like, I don't think I'm unintelligent in terms of like being traditionally book smart, but I think it's something where, because of my environment, I didn't actually have good friends. I didn't have a good environment in order for
You
that
to flourish.
academic, exactly, for those, that kind of academic inclination to flourish. And so, yeah, I think like I've always been very entrepreneurial, like in terms of my mind, but I think it's something where, dude, it's just so hard when your parents just don't understand. And it's like, obviously for them, it makes sense. And it's like, they put me through that cookie cutter mold of like putting me into tuition from the age of 5 and then trying to get me into a selective school and then, you know, so forth and so forth. But it's like, obviously it just didn't pan out like that because of circumstance and also my personality as well. And so, I don't know, I guess it's hard just still trying to navigate that, because I think it's so not normal for them. And I feel like from the eyes of an immigrant parent, it's like dropping out of university, not having a job, not having a plan. That's kind of like social suicide in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm literally, and so like, I'm literally doing the opposite of exactly what they wanted. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That's something they just have to contend with because, yeah.
I think one of the benefits that you may have is growing up in Australia, and like the nice thing is it's pretty multicultural, so
Yeah.
you will see like your peers or like other people who don't necessarily look like you but have pursued the dream that you want to pursue, and that might be actually quite helpful for you to. It is hard. I think I was very lucky in the sense where like my natural ambitions just aligned a lot with like what my parents wanted out of me.
Right.
It definitely would be way harder, and in the small ways that it has diverged, right? In the sense where it's like, oh, I went to study at these specific places, but they wanted me to study those specific places.
Right.
Like that in itself.
What do you mean by that? You wanted to study in the States?
I wanted to study in the States, and they wanted me to study in Australia. Like that in itself was like a hard fight to fight,
right?
And I eventually lost.
Yeah.
So like here I am in Australia, but
I'm not here by choice, guys.
It worked out in the end.
Okay.
But like, I could see how that would be like just you'd be like questioning everything like way more. Like, am I making the right decisions and everything? But I almost don't believe like if that's I don't know where you stand in this, but like in terms of like how much like. What you're doing for yourself versus what you're doing for your parents, I 100% believe like your career you should be doing for yourself. But it's not like because nothing's like really quite mutually exclusive. Nobody said like you couldn't work like a 9 to 5 and work on your side hustle at the same time. Yeah. A lot of people, I guess I'm speaking for people that I know, but in the tech space, like a lot of software engineers or like people, product engineers, anybody in tech, right? Like they might have this like startup idea that they really want to pursue, but obviously they've got a mortgage or like they have bills to pay, and they still need like a source of income. So they just do like their 9 to 5 regularly, but they just allocate time to build their business on the side. Or like they ask like they're like, oh, I'm not gunning for a promotion this year. I have like other side pursuits that they want to focus on as well and like invest time in. Right. Obviously that's like way harder in a sense where you have like two things you have to balance but it is like a viable option, and it's like a more I would say if I ever decide to pursue something on my own, that's what I would do, because I do not have any risk appetite and I just need that stability in my life, and I like that's something that I find quite important for myself, but I know like other people like it's like different goals, different lifestyle. It's like maybe they don't need that and they just want to like because I feel like more and more as well, like you see a lot of people who get burnt out from their 9 to 5, as particularly in tech or like maybe America, where it's like they gun like really hard for their work, and then by the age of like late 20s early 30s they're like oh, like they decide to leave the 9 to 5, pursue something that's less intense, because I do think climbing the corporate ladder and like the whole rat race thing you mentioned earlier can get quite exhausting depending on what the culture is like at your firm, and it may not be sustainable across like X number of years, however that many may be for you, but sometimes like some people can and that's what they want to do, so it's a really personal decision, so I don't think there's a one size fits all
for sure. I think like I know one of my mates, his fiance, she was working at Accenture, bro. My English is, I don't know what's happening today. But and then she quit. Now she's been working as a piano teacher for like 2 years. And so I think it's like very normal to pursue that pathway and then realize that's not for a specific individual and then kind of bounce.
I almost think it's like, for example, like for like graduating straight out of uni, their primary goal is more of, I want to gain experience and I want a stable income. So that's their goals. 9 to 5 fulfills that goal. Once they've hit like their 30s, they've built enough savings, they've got their house, everything's like stable. Like, or like the dual income household, like they've built enough like wealth. Then like now like, oh, my goals have changed. I want more fulfillment. I want something that actually like aligns with my passions. I don't need to make large corporations make even more money. Like that's not what I want to do. So then they pursue something like teaching. And like music, which is like might have been an interest since they were a kid. But because now they're more like fundamental needs are met, they can go pursue like their higher needs, essentially.
But I feel like that's still very type A, or also like you coming from another country and it's like you are here by yourself, and so you need that stability. You need to go and earn money so that you can pay the bills straight away. But like I feel like not everyone who was born in Australia or born in Sydney like has that level of ambition, A, or B has its like, you know, obviously everyone needs stability, right? And like I live at home, but it's like I've never felt like it's like you have to go and fend for yourself. But someone like me who was born and raised in Sydney, it's like I still live at home, and I know a lot of people still do live at home that they're around my age, and so it's just
also Sydney's in a really expensive city to live in.
And so I don't know, I just feel like that's very much coming from like a super type A, or like they're coming from another country and it's like I need stability.
I guess so. And it's like the way I know like the lifestyle and the goals that I want, like I need to
hustle.
I need to hustle and build
Yeah.
like a certain level of financial stability in order
Yeah.
to support that.
Yeah.
And if I want to provide that, if I have kids, if I want to
Yeah.
provide to my kids, like, I need to have that too. And that's just, it depends on life goals. I think at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And it's like what you want.
Uh-huh.
But I 100% believe like if you're in a job where like you're not fulfilled, like you hate your life, like definitely that's not the career for you and you should leave.
Yeah.
So I'm not advocating for you to like stay in like a
Yeah.
stable job just because
Yeah.
like it does, if it fulfills like X need.
Yeah.
I feel like we are blessed in a day and age where there are like a multitude of jobs and there is typically something for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, the job market's pretty shit these days, but like for the most part, like there are these avenues where you can pursue and make a little bit of money on like your own now, and like it's pretty sweet, not gonna lie.
Right.
So yeah.
No, that's fair. I mean, I think overall I'm pretty privileged in the sense of being able to quit my job and just kind of pursue this thing with the help of my parents in terms of financial support. But yeah, obviously not everyone does have that.
And not everyone's parents would agree.
Yeah.
They'd be like, go out, and if you want to
Yeah,
do
if
that,
you want
like,
to do that, they just
kick out
put you on the street.
and
Exactly.
like you gotta fend for yourself.
Exactly. And so I think like if I was ever going to put in a situation where my parents would just kick me out and I was like, and they were like, you know, you need to just go and fend for yourself.
Yeah.
I would just have to go and get a 9-to-5 job, right? It's
Yeah.
like this podcasting thing, it's like, nah, sorry, bro. Like,
No, you can still do it, but it'll be on the side.
it'd have to be on the side, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I guess I am very lucky, but it's also like, I don't know, man. It's, yeah.
You know what? I had an interesting thought because when I went back home to Malaysia this year, I almost think that in Asia, like you have these stereotypes of like, okay, obviously the Asian jobs are like doctors, engineers, lawyers, accountants, like all these professional roles, right?
Yep.
And they are, but I feel like these are almost the roles for like more developed countries. Malaysia's still a developing country, and most of my friends are in service industries, but manufacturing is still a really big industry in Malaysia. And there are a lot of like, we call it SMEs, but they're like small medium enterprises, but they are basically just companies that they have started by themselves, like businesses. It could be any form of manufacturing. It could be like meat, rice, glass, anything of that sort. Rubber's also a big one. They are business. A lot of them are like small business owners actually in Malaysia. I realize like because I don't know how to describe this in like a very articulate way, but it's like because in developing countries like Australia, America, New Zealand, like Hong Kong, Singapore, all these like established service-based industries, they are all thriving off of like these large corporations where like that make lots of money, like these finance, tech, service-based industries. But in Malaysia, it's like the service industry aren't at its peak as these developed countries. So there's a lot of space for like small entrepreneurial pursuits, but I don't know if like you want to be like the peak glass maker in like in like Australia or whatever.
Not sure.
No, but like I like the people who build wealth in Malaysia, at least, like, I find a lot of them are people who have their own businesses, and are of the manufacturing sort, not necessarily the service sort. And it's because that's like just the nature of the country. I don't know, but that's just what
the landscape of the job market.
That's what I've observed, because I have like friends who like work for their parents' companies, and it's like that's what it works, and they're running their own it's still a company, but it's a small company. It's not like a large multinational corporation. It's like a local Malaysian based industry, like company, that they might bring over to like maybe Thailand or like Singapore, but like it's still like local based. But I'm not sure if like that's the entrepreneurship you're gunning for, or yours is like you want to provide a service for other people, because I find service industry based startups are like harder to break into, just because in developed countries there's like so many like larger corporations. But I feel like that was just like a random thought I had. I don't know if it
that's okay.
I'm trying to prove, but
I don't know about my future entrepreneurial pursuits, but I know for right now, in terms of like Chinatown Cycling Club, it's something where I want to build community first, build an actual club, and then from there I want to turn this like a streetwear brand.
Okay.
And so the plan is to be able to design merch, both cycling gear that we wear while we're riding, but also just streetwear merch, trackies, socks, shirts, hats, and then rep that. And then also, just be able to use my Mandarin in some way. So obviously you'd have to find a manufacturer in China who's reliable, and then kind of go that pathway, and then just be able to use my Mandarin in that space as well.
Would you say it's like a more passion-driven sort of like pursuit?
Definitely passion-driven, because I think both this podcast, the name of the podcast, and also Chinatown Cycling Club are all to do with my culture. And so it's something that I'm passionate about. And I think that obviously just stems from my experience in high school and feeling like just being a misfit my whole life. And now I'm like kind of proud to,
Wear your colors.
Yeah, exactly. That's the reason I have this tattoo. It's like, I'm not going to let anyone make me feel ashamed of who I am anymore and my culture. And so, definitely. These are both definitely like passion projects at the moment. But yeah, that's the kind of space that I want to move into, to be able to use my Mandarin. Moving forward.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Go.
I was going to say, like, why can't you pursue all what you're doing now while working like part-time elsewhere, like a corporation where, because I do think with what you're doing, it helps like with building your network, right? Like meeting people who do similar things. So maybe working in a team where like you'll meet other people, like like-minded people, or who have probably done what you wanted to do before. And like maybe they could like, maybe you just stumble upon someone who could be your mentor or whatever. And that might be like a valuable opportunity. But yeah, because I feel like what you're doing now is amazing, and it's teaching, like, it gives you all the ideation points, but maybe there's like a portion where it's like you could still like learn from other people as well. And I feel like, at least for me,
do you think I'm gonna
maybe I'm projecting, because I'm like, I've been going to a couple networking events. I feel like I learn a lot from meeting people who are older and who have done things that I want to do. And it's just like I find that you learn a lot from other people doing like slightly very, like, they're not the exact same things that you want to do, but it's like almost mirrored, and it's something that you can apply to yourself. But that's,
but do you think, are these people that are working 9 to 5 and then they're also in the entrepreneurship space as well, like on the side, or like how what does it look like?
I guess because mine's in the tech space, so these are like founder people, so people who want to pursue their own startups, or like are looking to, or like they're doing it on the side while they work like their regular 9 to 5 kind of thing. Okay. So like slightly different from what you want to do, because I guess startups are still tech corporations at the end of the day. But I guess like it might help build momentum. I don't know, but I feel like sometimes it helps meeting, like, that's why I recently figured why networking is kind of important, because you meet people who are outside of your regular work bubble, and it just gives you more perspective of like opportunities and things that you can do that's not what you've already been doing. And it just helps me grow.
I see, but I feel like this is all predicated on also having a degree and moving into some kind of space where you have some kind of technical skills, which I don't have.
I guess so.
And so, yeah, that's a tough one, because I feel like, in theory, that would be great if I finished my degree and I was working in some kind of, if I was working in HR or something like that. But
what about like some sort of creative media agency or something?
So there's actually this space. There's this guy, his name's Jai Howitt. He's from Perth, and basically he runs this space called the Art of Mondays. They have like 70k followers or so on Instagram, and basically what he's doing, he's an entrepreneur, and it's like a highly vetted membership, and it's like $5,000+ per year. And basically, it's crazy. But basically they have like Airbnb spaces that they book out in different parts of the world, which are quite cheap, and they basically bring founders together. So you have to have some kind of company, be the founder of some kind of company, and you also have to have proven records that you're making above a certain amount in revenue annually. And so basically what they do is they bring founders together, and they live together, they work together, they work out together, they eat together, they do everything together. And so it allows them to be kind of rub shoulders and allow them to innovate in new ways within their specific business role. And so that's this guy. I follow him on Instagram and YouTube, and it's like, I love what he's doing, and that's a space that I really want to move into. That's a cool thing. And yeah, so
but like that's my point, right? In order to like make like that's a really cool business, and I think that's like honestly a really, really sick job. But I feel like in order to get to where he's at, his network would need it to have been like pretty insane to be able to like build that and like to pitch that. His people he surrounded himself probably are like founders and everything.
Yeah.
You really recognize like that
Yeah.
niche.
Yeah.
And because they would have to like trust him
Yeah.
to build this communal space for them as well.
Right.
So I do think networking, as icky as it sounds sometimes, is quite important in terms of getting where you need to be.
Yeah. But I don't know whether I have too much of like a black and white mindset.
Fair.
But like I don't know whether I'm really gonna find that in some kind of corporate space. You know, obviously
it doesn't need to be corporate. Like you being like a creative. Like I feel like a lot of people have a lot of more creative pursuits these days, and it's probably just being around people who are similar to you.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what I'm trying to do, but like, I don't
Yeah.
have $5,000 that I can just drop.
That's
I was
so
actually
fair.
I was actually applying
Yeah.
to the Art of Mondays, but then I just like sacked the application. I was like, dude, I don't have this kind of money.
Yeah. That's
but yeah,
fair.
I'm trying to find ways in order to be within the space of other entrepreneurs. Because I just love being around people that want to innovate and that want to own their own business and have operate in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can end that. Like, so what are your goals that you have for yourself in terms of career?
I mean, that's a big question, bro.
Oh, sorry.
We're getting really adulty right now, bro.
All right.
Honestly, right now is just to grow the pod, and also work on this cycling club. I don't have any further kind of entrepreneurial ideas for the time being, but it's something where I'm just taking it a step at a time. Yeah.
I guess so. Can I play the Asian mom and ask, like, how are
Be
you
the Asian mom, bro.
I'm like, how are you gonna earn money from that?
So, dude, I can't lay out the blueprint in front of for the
Okay,
viewers,
I guess
bro.
so,
What
I
do you
guess so.
mean, bro?
I guess so, but he has a plan, right?
I have a plan.
Okay.
I can't just.
As an Asian mom, like, I don't want to be like.
I'll tell you off the pod, bro.
Okay, that's fair. And with that,
You guys are gonna see it in motion, all right? Just give me some time.
all right.
All right, should we end it there?
Yeah, and with that, we'll end before we leak any more confidential company information out here.
All right. Well, we don't need to be at the party until a bit later. So
Yeah.
All right, but we'll wrap it up there. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Late Night Hotpot. I'm your host Jeremy.
And I'm Zoe.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
All right.